It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Good morning. Happy Monday to you. Happy Emancipation Day. I am Philip Simon.
And it is certainly a pleasure to be back in your company. So happy that Phil mentioned that it's not August Monday holiday. It is, in fact, Emancipation Day. And we, of course, are celebrating the freedom gained by those of us who have descended from slaves on this day.
Listen, I just have to say before we do anything else, this is absolutely just amazing. Love it,
Phil.
man.
Thank you. I knew I was sitting next to you, and so I had to step my game up.
Listen, I was just trying to be all royal, put on little blue patches.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love
That's
it.
where
I
I've
love
been
it.
going.
Love it
Thank you,
very
thank
much,
you, thank you. I think it's really been a celebration, especially in the African diaspora community over the past few years. And I knew, like in my mom's generation, that there was a period too when they were really dedicated to wearing the African prints, etc. But certainly we've seen like a resurgence of that in my generation. And so really a blessing to be able to celebrate and support those who are creating these sorts of pieces that honor our heritage and where we come from.
And I love the conversation too that we're having. Albeit not how it's coming up, right? Because what's happening in America. It can be a little bit. Boy, I can't even find the right word.
But it's rough.
It's rough. But to really think back, and this day in particular really takes us all the way back in this particular hemisphere, in this particular region, 1838, and the fact that emancipation, after such a rough period, in Black history. We're grateful to God.
Yeah, we really are. We really are. And I think it shows us the strength of us and the fact that we are still here, right? Which means that there are ancestors who've gone before us that lived, that thrived, that made love, that made babies, that created in spite of the circumstances. And so for us, I think it's a reminder that strength is within us and that it is our job in this century to push forward for the economic liberation that so many lacked as a result of things not having been fairly balanced at the time when they were made free. But so much to come in this segment. It's not all about Phil and I and our feelings, though we do celebrate and honor those who've gone before us. Really looking forward to an excellent show.
Listen, I am looking forward to this show. I said upstairs to our guests, this was probably going to be one of the happiest shows I've ever done.
He's just so happy.
I'm just beaming because we have an excellent representation of so many wonderful people upstairs. Of course, most of them are from Fox Hill. I am biasly Fox Hill into the core.
You all know, he's Fox Hill to the core. So I'm going to take this time to shout out my roots. Shout out to all of my Delaport folk, from which the descendants of John Hyla come.
Yep.
You may continue.
Fox Hill celebration. But listen, we're talking Emancipation Day. Dr. Chris Curry is going to be here to talk about the significance, as we started to touch on, of Emancipation Day. We'll also talk to the Member of Parliament for Fox Hill and the Fox Hill Festival Committee. They're going to be celebrating next week as well. And also today for the Emancipation Day celebrations. And we'll talk recent national honor recipients, some distinguished gentlemen in the house.
Yeah, man, excited about all of those. Really excited. My Sora Rhonda is here. She's with Dr. Jacinta Higgs in the Catherine School. So impressed by Dr. Higgs and the work that she's been doing in that community and just around their education system and what they teach and the power of the message at that school. Some of the brightest minds I find when I go into conversations with young people come from a Catherine. So that's going to be a great conversation as well. And we'll talk to some prominent Fox Hill families about growing up in that community and what that means for them. So of course it's almost Phil Day. It's Emancipation Day, but it's Fox Hill Day, which is Phil Day, and so we're just in total celebration mode. Before we get to any of that, we're going to take a first look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First in Insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Stan. Good morning, Bahamas. Your first look at the weather. Sunrise is August Monday. High pressure blowing across the northwest Bahamas. Still have some lingering showers with troughing across the northwest Bahamas this morning, but we start improving by afternoon. So first, looking at variable cloudiness. Still a bit breezy with a few showers, isolated thunderstorms, mainly across the northwestern islands. High temperature 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a few showers or a late night thunderstorm. Your low temperature going down to 78 degrees Fahrenheit. And some region highs and lows across the Caribbean. Barbados 82 and 78. In Jamaica 85 and 73. In Trinidad 84 and 76. And the Turks and Caicos Islands 90 and 77. Across North America, Atlanta 87 and 71. In Raleigh 84 and 70. In Miami 88 and 79. Dallas, Texas 91 and 75. And Toronto, Canada 78 and 67. For the weather outlook, we're looking at mix of sun and clouds through the week with showers and thunderstorms mainly during the afternoon hours, though temperature daytime will be in low 90s, at nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts you up on your first look at weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Fox Hillians can trace their lineage all the way back to the Yoruba, Nango, Congo, and Igbo tribes of Africa, and of course this rich African history as we celebrate 1838, emancipation of our ancestors in a very special way. Listen, a full slate is on for Emancipation Day today, and of course Foxhill Day, which will be the following week. Here to tell us more are Chanel Ferguson, Member of Parliament for the distinguished Foxhill constituency, Clint Paris, Chairman of the Festival Committee, and Annette Humes, who is just modeling here this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise, Secretary of the Festival Committee. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you.
What a very special day it is.
Oh, indeed it is. And we're all excited as we move forward and closer every day. I mean, I remember as a child, I was counting down the days, just couldn't wait.
You listen, everything brand new. Anyway, we can talk about that. But what is, I mean, what is the feeling in Foxhill as we head into this holiday?
It's I think for us, it's that special time of year when, as you started to say, everything new comes out. And it's remembrance. It's a time of family and friends and eating and celebrating. It's time of church. And it's a whole 9 yards of remembering where we came from. And you can't say that enough, and you can't do it enough.
I mean, listen, this is, I mean, even for me growing up in Foxhill, this is like right up there with Christmas, you know, and we talk about Emancipation, and then of course Foxhill Day, you know, and it was always special, not just in terms of church, but the entire community. Tell us about some of the activities that you have planned this year.
Well, we're doing some new things this year. We're partnering for one with a group coming out of Gambia. With a road race trek across New Providence, and they're going to come into Foxhill. They're actually doing a night race. They start at about 9:30, and they're going to run from Gambia to Foxhill. And they arrive in Foxhill just before the Junkanoo at 12 in the morning, 12 midnight. And so that's a new event. And then of course we're going to have we have a basketball tournament which starts on the 1st of August, and it's going to run about a week. And so that's another interesting segment. And then we're going to have our usual Emancipation Day activities, climbing of the greasy pole and ecumenical service, all those kinds of things.
Listen, Annette, I see you're holding that beautiful bag over there. It says, many people, one community. And of course, what's the tree on?
It's the cotton tree, cotton tree.
What's the significance of the tree and just the theme, many people, one community?
Well, the theme actually speaks for itself. Foxhill is made up of many people, but it is actually one community. The silk cotton tree is very synonymous with Foxhill. Everywhere you go in Foxhill, you see this big cotton tree. And so the committee thought to use this as our theme going forward. Also with the grain bags, saying that in January 2020, the government will be doing away with plastic. We're using, we went and we got these beautiful grain bags. And they're for sale, so
just contact the committee, right?
Just contact the committee. They're only $5.
One of the things Mr. Pierce was about to say was that we have a farmers market.
Yes.
And
PAIC pop-up farmers market will be on the 3rd of August in the Foxhill Parade.
Yeah.
And so we're encouraging the general public, island-wide, to come out.
Yeah.
They're going to be selling the usual produce.
Okay.
And the committee will be selling the green bags as well.
So they can put all their stuff in the green bag.
No, but no, I'm simply tied all together, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, obviously the race would be, you know, happening. So what is it there? I mean, like for families. I mean, it's a special occasion. I know I always look forward to kind of just going out there with my cousins and just running around and going to the different stalls. And I mean, so you've got all of that completely lined up.
All that's lined up.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of like a reunion for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
Because a number of persons really don't get to see, you know, each other throughout the year.
Yeah.
They look forward to coming to Foxhill around that time, and they get together and enjoy all the festivities around Foxhill.
Yeah. You talk about the greasy pole. You talk. I mean, I see the kids with the marbles.
Yeah.
You know, what are some of the other things that people can really expect?
There's some new things. We did it last year, and I think the year before as well. There's Catch the Crab. That comes on Foxhill Day.
Yeah.
And we put all these crabs out, and then they run wild, and you have to go and catch your own crab. And scary for me. And then there's the pineapple eating contest, which was a hit. We know that the greasy pole is special because they tried it in Exuma last year, and they weren't too successful. Yeah,
Right.
I think the whole pole came down.
Oh, geez.
But we are brother's brother and our sister's sister. And so we are willing to go to whatever island and help them to set these things up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been involved with the festival for
a little over 15 years.
Little while. It's kind of just continued to evolve. It still remains a very special, you know, day of activities. In fact, entire week of activities.
Yes.
And then we culminate next week with Foxhill Day. I mean, you know, I'm sure you guys are going to come back next week and talk a bit more about that. But you know, speak a little bit just about what the plans may be for Foxhill Day.
Okay. In addition to, you know, we have all the stall holders selling all these different array of food, and then, like Ms. Ferguson said, we have the greasy pole, the crab catching and the pineapple eating and watermelon eating contest. We have tours of historical Foxhill going on all day, every day. Another event that someone chose to do last year, I think last year or the year before would have been the first, the box cart.
Oh yeah.
Tour, where you can just, they literally made a box cart, and you take them, they take them around the roundabout, and for $2 you can ride on the box cart. We have activities not only on Foxhill Day and Emancipation Day, but even leading up to. There's a senior citizen island-wide bus tour.
Nice.
Okay,
nice.
So we want to make sure do something with our seniors also.
Well, I tell you what, we've got so much more to talk about, and I want to get to that senior citizens because so many stories, and we're going to have to do it another time because we're going to wrap up the segment, but so many stories and so much rich history, and so many of our elders that still remain, and we need to capture those stories and memorialize it in such a way. But again, that's another show for another time. We'll touch on it next week. Again, we've been with Chanel Ferguson, Member of Parliament for Foxhill, Clint Pierce, Chairman of the Festival Committee, and Annette Holmes, who has not let that bag drop during this entire segment, Secretary of the Festival Committee. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. Happy Emancipation Day. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence, every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 32-FIRST or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. first response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
New Providence Life Insurance Company wants to be your lifetime insurance partner. Through good times and bad, we are here to light the way. We offer educational savings plans, family plans for medical, dental, and vision, income protection to pay bills if you can't work, and a full set of plans designed for senior adults. New Providence Life, your beacon of security through every season.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. If you're just tuning in, then happy Emancipation Day to you. And if you've been with us since we started, then you know that today, August Monday, we are celebrating the emancipation of the slaves in 1838 within the British colonies. Here to talk to us more about what that day means in our history, but also what it should mean moving forward, we're very happy to welcome Associate History Professor at the University of the Bahamas, Dr. Chris Curry. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. It certainly is a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you with us. Always so excited to hear your perspective on this and to learn a little bit more about our history from you. What is the significance of Emancipation Day for us, or what should it mean as we think about where we are now?
Well, there's two parts of it. I think we should be celebrating and commemorating the event as a signature moment in our country's history where freedom was achieved, at least formally. But we should also commiserate in a sense, because we understand that the long journey of freedom didn't end with 1838. It led to other forms of oppression, exploitation, the truck credit and share system, and into the 20th century, segregation, discrimination, and therefore it makes sense that we had to have another revolution of sorts, a quiet revolution leading to majority rule in 67. So I see continuity with 1838 and 1967. It speaks to what was paper freedom in 1838 had to be actualized in a more real, tangible way with the democratization that came with 67. So I think that we should celebrate 1838, but we also should commiserate and understand that all that should have been given in 38 wasn't, and therefore there was another fight that had to be taken on.
Yeah. One of the things that we've heard a lot more about in recent times has been this idea of repatriations, and that what you said didn't happen in 38. And we sort of saw that shift in 67, but still there seems to be some underlying disruption in our system, especially as we look at what's happening around the world and this gap growing wider between richer and poorer, and looking still at those areas that are the poorer areas, particularly in this country, having belonged to slave villages, and the people of color there being the ones significantly impacted by that divide. Would repatriations give something or lend something to that context that could help to shift the economic disparity?
I think we talk in terms of the reparations movement about the two pillars of the movement, which is to look at colonialism and slavery and their legacies. And so while slavery was abolished, first 34 and then in 38 full emancipation, we understand that we still have a movement to take hold of. And colonialism did huge damages to the Caribbean region and to the Bahamas. And so most of the Caribbean region territories, when they came into independence in debt and with no real infrastructure and an educational system that was absolutely abysmal. And so unlike countries like Canada or Australia or the United States even, going back to the 18th century, they came into independence with resources. They came into independence fully equipped per se, to thrive and survive. But we came in independence in debt and with many challenges that we had to overcome because of colonialism. So reparations is trying to address an injustice and to right a wrong. And so I think it is important to call out what we see as a fundamental expression of inequality that came out of slavery and colonialism.
Okay. All right. And what would that look like for us if we were just to receive it? Would it be the canceling of debt? Would it be, in the United States they talk about 3 acres and a mule?
Yeah.
Is there a fight or a cause in the Caribbean region that we say this looks like what is fair to us?
Right. Now, CARICOM has a 10-point plan, and the first one is a formal apology and a genuine apology, not just saying, okay, that was a bad thing, but actually owning up to it. And then that leads to the other 9 points, which include assistance towards cultural institutions, development strategies, and an infrastructure being put in place for education, bridging the divide between Africa and the diaspora through communication and cultural exchanges. There's just a lot of things that need to be done. And again, we always want to dismiss the myth or the notion that reparations is like glorified begging. We're not asking for a check or a certain amount of money to be deposited into a government's treasury. What we're looking for is for to be equitable relations of development between the colonizer and the colonized.
Wow. And you know, this is so important that we have this conversation, because so much of the talk is about, oh, they just want money, right? But you need to understand that there's so much more to it than that. And so I'm grateful that you brought it up. Whenever I come, I learn something from you. And one of the things that I've learned in the past, I would want you to share with our guest today, is that this fight for slavery was not just William Wilberforce, right? Who we all know. There were people on the ground here, and we have the Pompey Museum. But who are some of those other names that we are not familiar with, that we should know, that fought for us here in the Bahamas?
Right. So I call them black abolitionists because it was actually the enslaved in the Bahamas and throughout the Caribbean that really pushed the button of abolition in ways that the white abolitionists in England, you mentioned William Wilberforce, and there were others as well, Thomas Clarkson and even Sharp, who was an attorney at the time. These men were very conservative, actually, and many of them were looking towards a reformist agenda rather than a more radical expression of actually ending slavery. So it was the enslaved in the Caribbean, in the Bahamas, who actually rebelled against the system and said, you know what, reforming, improving, ameliorating the conditions is not enough. We want freedom, and we want it now. And so we have Pompey, but we also have people like Matilda. We have Kate Moss, who defiantly refused to mend the clothes or whatever of Helen and Henry Moss, was put in stocks for 2 weeks, had bird pepper rubbed in her eyes, went out into the field and expired, which is to say she died. So she was one of those rebellious women that we don't really talk enough about, but her rebellious nature actually led to her case being publicized by the white abolitionists in England by 1829. So the treatment of Kate, even though, you know, in her own singular way, she was being defined on her own terms, it actually became part of a larger polemical debate even in the British Parliament, led by abolitionists who used that as a test case for why slavery should be abolished. And then when we think about Pompey, a lot of people focus on the singular man, but we forget that in that vessel that he took and chartered to Nassau, it was a large vessel. It wasn't a dinghy, and 2/3 of that crew happened to be women. And some of the women, at least 2, were pregnant. When they got to within the environs or vicinity of New Providence, the vessel was captured, the women were imprisoned, and they were flogged. And that came to the attention of the governor at the time, Carmichael Smith, who realized that this was against the Amelioration Act, which said women couldn't be beaten. So it was a huge controversy. So we forget oftentimes that women, as Hilary Beckles will remind us, were natural rebels, just like our enslaved men. And they were the true abolitionists of a freedom movement that extended way beyond 1838.
Wow. Well, Dr. Curry, we could talk for hours, but unfortunately the show does not allow us to do that. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure.
Always good to have you with us.
Yes.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. Hope you're enjoying your Emancipation Day and the show. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Wait, that's Omar Little from The Wire. You think everyone is Omar from The Wire?
Wow, it's really nice to meet a fan.
It's like he's right here. I telling you he's being all type shows and stuff?
And you know, Rev Go Play plays a lot of good movies and TV shows.
Excuse me, can't you see we're watching something else? Rude.
Settle all your pop culture disputes with Rev Go Play. Watch, record, and stream all your favorite shows wherever you are. Free for all Rev TV subscribers. Rev, you and us together.
I always wanted to come back to the College of Bahamas. I wanted to be a faculty. When the opportunity came for me to be Vice President of Operations, I said, well, let me try that first. It makes me proud because I was here before. I feel as if now I'm sort of like a beacon for those students who are here to say, hey, listen, I can actually be a vice president. I can actually be one of the big leaders at the university. I'm Ronnie Stevenson, and this is my UB.
Apply today at www.ub.edu.bs.
Thank you so much and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. This is the second year that the national honors were bestowed, and this morning we are happy to welcome 3 men who've received those honors. Reverend Dr. Philip Ramming, who penned the country's national Pledge of Allegiance, as well as the national song, God Bless Our Sunny Clime, has been bestowed the Order of the Bahamas Award. Bishop Carrington Pinder has been honored with the companion rank of the Order of Merit, and Reverend J. Carl Ramming has been honored with the officer rank of the Order of Merit. Gentlemen, good morning, congratulations, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you.
A pleasure to have all of you with us. It really is truly an honor to have icons just sitting in the same space as me and to be able to learn from you and to see you all as an example of what we can achieve as a nation. And so we are just really grateful that you decided to join us. I'm going to start with Bishop Carrington Pinder. You received the national acclaim for your service. How does it feel, and what do these honors mean for you?
I'm proud about it, and to know that it's a Bahamian national award.
Yes.
And it gives a sense of pride to know that you have invested, contributed into the life of the Bahamian society, and without looking for any reward.
Yes.
Others probably were taking notice, so we feel proud about it.
Yeah, that is a beautiful thing. And Reverend Dr. Philip Ramming, you have been a part of all of our lives. For those of us born after independence, we grew up saying the Pledge of Allegiance, singing that song that you wrote. To hear it said every time, how does that feel for you to know that your legacy just continues on with the birth of a nation? That is so phenomenal. How does that feel?
The feeling really is a thrill. Since a thrill in my body and tears in my eyes.
Wow.
Giving God thanks.
Yes. Yes, I mean, it really must mean so much, and I think about the words of that pledge and what it calls us to as a people. Do you see us living up to the call that we pledge each time we say it?
There's always a challenge to live to a call,
right.
But we have to remember, we in order to form a government, you need 2 sides, but we are one people,
right?
Irrespective, you cook peas and rice different from another person who cooks peas and rice.
Right.
It's still peas and rice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed. And Reverend J. Carl Ramming, how do you feel about the contributions that you've made to your nation? What was it internally that led to you doing the work that you've done over the years?
To be honest, I began as I felt led in terms of rendering service to the community, Foxhill in particular. And I'm just humbled and give God thanks in that He allowed me to do what I've done and would continue to do.
Yeah.
Not looking for any earthly rewards, but we are humbled by the fact that we've been considered or thought about is from a governmental standpoint. We give God thanks for that.
Certainly, and the humility and the praise from God, obviously you expect that from reverence, right? But it is so genuine in this space, and so grateful to be able to sit with you and to feel that thankfulness that you have for God. Now, both of my Reverend Rammings, you both grew up in Foxhill, that's correct?
Yes.
Yeah. What was that?
Navel string bonded.
Navel string right there on the ground. Right there. Yeah. What was the community like, and how has the community growing up in Foxhill for either of you really just helped to turn you into the person that we see today, that has left this legacy of kindness and servitude and leadership in the same community that raised you? What was it like to grow up in Foxhill, Reverend?
I grew up before J. Carl, Miss Ramming. And at that time we had a sort of, the economy had Nangas and Congas.
Okay.
He is a Congo.
Okay.
I'm a Nanga.
Okay.
And the Congos live on Back Street, on the Dade Road. And on the dirt road, you couldn't spin top on the dirt road. You had to come on the star road.
Okay.
Among the Nangas to spin top, and so we felt that we owned the territory.
Okay.
But the Congos live in Dorset Street area, in that area there, with that jumping dance and so forth.
Okay.
And the Negroes' national anthem was penned by James Weldon Johnson, who they say is a Bahamian, right on that. And they said that he used to come to the jumping dance in Dorset Street.
Okay.
James Weldon Johnson.
Wow.
So now, as a boy growing up, we live in an upstairs house. We would hear the jumping dance music and stuff. We wanted to jump and go, but we couldn't dare go down there.
Oh, wow.
We just would do that. And so therefore, we didn't like John Canoe. That was true to me, not John Canoe. Not until Mita Davis came on the scene. Mrs. Cumberbatch. She was the mother-in-law of Clement Maynard, who was the Minister of Tourism.
Right.
And he picked up John Canoe and made it what it is today.
Wow.
But before then, that was
Okay, very interesting, very interesting stuff. So he's telling me the side from the Nango side. You got to talk to me from the Congo side now.
Well, let me put it this way. He talked from the what we would call the big shot side. Because those who live on the what we call the big road.
Right.
All right. But we lived on the middle road.
Right.
All right. There was Step Street, Dorset Street, and the big road. Now the big road is known as Bernard Road.
Right.
You see, and so even though we were separated, but yet we were one.
Right.
When that was necessary, we came together, not only as family but as a community, and I think that would let us the examples and whatnot our parents set, and I think that in itself would sort of kept us together, and we do appreciate the training, the upbringing that we received, and here we are today trying to pass that same legacy on to our
onto the
Yes,
people
ma'am.
who live in Foxhill now.
And then the other point here, we came together through the schools.
Right.
The churches and the community divided us, but the schools brought us together.
Wow.
Sunday school and one Catholic school, we came together.
Right.
Through the schools.
Okay. And so when you think about that, right, the church and the school would be the places that we need to continue to bring people together. For you, Bishop Pinder, when you look at Foxhill now and the community now, and you hear these stories of how they grew up, certainly with some strife, right, which is normal for any group of people, with the Congos on one side and Anglos on the other, being able to come together in a school setting and form love there. There's so much challenges that Foxhill faces now, and you guys are in the community still working. What is your hope and your vision for the people of Foxhill and for the nation as a whole as you think about emancipation?
Well, Foxhill is still a safe place. The friendliness of the people, the caring way is still there. And unlike Bishop Ramming and Dr. Ramming, I did not grow up in Foxhill, but I've spent 43 years in that community and worked and served in the pastoral aspect for 34 of those years.
Wow.
And I'm grateful for the embrace, for the support and love that I receive, even though I am not in Foxhill presently in pastoral duty. My heart is still there because these are the people on whose shoulders I stand and who has helped me to get where I am today.
Wow.
But we looked at the situation, and it's not an isolated situation. The country, the world has changed, and we continue to be optimistic that God is still in control, and where there are ill will and strife, we continue to preach a redemptive gospel and try to show this younger generation that there's a better way to resolve conflicts as opposed to seek revenge.
Right. Yeah. Gentlemen, this has been a blessing for my soul today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing with us your pride about coming from Foxhill and the work that you've done. And certainly we look at people like you and know that there is such greatness that came from the communities that are descended from the people of Africa. And so we're grateful that you joined us. Thank you so much.
The spirit of Foxhill is so strong. There were oneness of spirit. That's so strong. I can't foresee anything or anyone seems to be able to destroy that oneness that we experience in Foxhill.
Oneness of people in Foxhill. A wonderful message for us to end on. Thank you again for joining us.
Oh, you missed me out here. I wanted to say this, that Fox Hill is a community with festivals and stuff.
Right.
And we are strong in that. Now all the family animals have this festival and so forth, but it began in Fox Hill.
It certainly
Fox
did.
Hill is the mother country, mother area for it.
I believe that
Fox
totally.
Hill.
The history certainly speaks to that point.
Fox Hill.
Right there in Fox Hill.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Thank you for having us.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
So who really own the Nassau Container Port?
Boss, that's easy. The government.
I do.
I do. Thank you. I do.
I do. And one day, he will too.
I do. Knock knock.
Here at the Nassau Container Port, we've diversified our ownership to give hardworking Bahamians a piece of the economic pie. And we'll continue to grow so that we can give you a consistent return on your investment. That's our promise.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
Hi, I'm Davriel and welcome to REV Tips, where we answer your most important REV service questions. Today's question is, how do I set up a REV My Account? It's super easy. To create a REV My Account, simply visit www.cablebahamas.com and click the My Account icon. Next, select the Create Account option. Please have a copy of your latest statement on hand. Enter the information as it appears on the statement to the respective areas on the form. When you have finished, click Create Account to continue with the process. Once you've registered your account, you can use your username and password to check your account balance, view past statements, and pay your bill online. And that's your REV tip for this week. Thanks for watching, and be sure to join us next time.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're at the halfway point on this Emancipation Day Monday.
Great show.
Excellent show.
Great show. So many nuggets. I wish we could, I say it all the time, but certainly this is one of those shows where I wish we could just simply talk all day long. So much history there. And obviously everybody knows I'm biased about it, but still, it's a history that speaks to who we are.
Yeah.
Right? It speaks from whence we came. And, if we do it right, it can speak to where we're going. But love the segment too, also with those good Reverend gentlemen, whom I know very well, very well. Got the booklet from last year, just flipping through it and kind of looking at the history and just just wonderful times, eh?
Indeed. Certainly there's so much there and so much to learn from our history, so much to embrace from our history. The thing I love most about talking to Dr. Chris Curry from the University of the Bahamas is that he's obviously white. And so
you sure?
I'm sure. He confirmed it today. And the beauty of that is that he and I are able to speak about something like race without there being any sort of animosity or anger, and just facts as they are. And then how do we move forward embracing one another in that? And so I think just having him as a representation of what is possible to communicate, and that there can be peace, love, and moving forward there is a beautiful thing.
And you know what? And I don't think Dr. Curry is an abnormality.
No, he's not.
He's not. We there are some actors out there that want us to think so.
Yeah.
But that's not the way that I grew up. I mean, going to Kingsway Academy, and you never knew these things. In fact, it came home to me when I went to America for school. Yeah. But other than that, it was just Bahamian. Yeah. Just Bahamian, and we all are just Bahamian. Yeah. Listen, I want to say good morning to my grandmother, Kathleen McKinsey, right there Roma Street, Fox Hill.
Good morning, I'm Kathleen. We've got more to come in the second half of the show. We're looking forward to a conversation with the Catherine Academy.
Yes, and we're going to talk to some prominent Bahamian families, so many of them in terms of Fox Hill.
Yeah.
So, stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting conversation.
Get all that ahead and more after we take a second look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First in Insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Star, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather sunrise, you can take a look at the tropics, and we still have that area of low pressure to the east of the Les Antilles, moving towards the west-northwest about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Still have potential about 50% chance of development over the next 5 days, but look like some dry air ahead of it will cause conditions to be marginal for development at this point in time. Elsewhere, tropical storm formation expected during the next 5 days. On local scene, weak high pressure building across the northwest Bahamas, with some troughing will cause some cloudiness and showers over the northwest Bahamas during the morning hours. In your marine forecast, winds southerly at 15 knots, sea 3 to 5 feet in the northwest Bahamas, southeastern at 15-20 knots, sea 4 to 6 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Tuesday, those winds continue southerly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas, southeast at 15 knots, sea 3 to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. And then on Wednesday, southerly winds again at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet in the northwest Bahamas, southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet in central Bahamas, and east to southeast at 15 knots, sea 3 to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a high tide at 11:07 this morning. Your next low tide at 5:22 this evening. High gain tonight at 11:27. Sunset 7:50 this evening. Rises tomorrow at 6:40. UV index 8. Your water temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Any moon phase, new moon. External look, mix of sun and clouds. We have usual showers and thunderstorms by afternoon. Though temperature daytime will be in the low 90s, at nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts you up in your final look at weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Of course, the celebration of Emancipation Day continues. Certainly it's joy, just straight up joy for me to be here this morning on a very special day and to have now in this particular segment ladies who I consider my mothers. I would have grown up under their tutelage and hopefully they did a good job. But of course, just prominent families from Fox Hill. We're talking about the Johnson family, the Mackey family, and we are joined this morning by Esmerelda Johnson Rutherford, known for a very long time, Sister Mary Johnson, and Olive Mackey. Good morning. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Good morning. It's good to be here.
It's good to be here. Good to have you. Good to have you. It's kind of turned into a little bit of Emancipation Fox Hill type of morning, but again, I think when we think about Fox Hill, the word that always comes up in my mind is community.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
yes, definitely.
So we are very full of pride to be from Fox Hill. But what does it mean to be Foxhillian? Let's start with you.
Oh my goodness. Fox Hill to me says community.
Yeah.
There's no question of it. Strong families, families who are neighborly, look out for each other, and strong church background, teaching the children respect, law and order, that kind of thing.
Mary, there's something really, I think, special when we talk about that word community. What has been, your experience and just being a part of the Fox Hill community? What kind of sticks out to you as one of the lasting impressions or lasting memories that you've had?
Okay, Fox Hill to me is home, family, community, as you said, where people come together, as my sister said, look out for each other. It reminds me of school, Sandlands Primary, which is an old school. My teachers, my family members who instilled the proper values and all that makes you feel proud to be a Foxhillian.
In the previous segment, we had the good Reverend gentleman on the show, and of course, 2 out of 3 grew up in Foxville. And of course, Reverend Pinda, of course, has been there for 40 plus years, of course. So
that's right. That's right. Yes.
Right.
Foxvillian.
By right. Right. By right. Yes. But there's a heritage. So when you think, Olive, about your time again, just going back just a couple of years, right? What has the experience been like? I mean, when you think back to those earlier days.
Well, like it was always said, it was previously said, my growing up, the community spirit, the church, the school. When you went to school, your teachers actually were Foxvillians.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you had them in the church because they went to the churches in Foxville.
Right.
The school, and I always say to my friends, you better not do something because you have to meet them in church.
Yep. And they knew your parents.
And they knew your parents. So when they would have gathered to funerals or wherever it was, they will say Olive did X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
A community, growing up, everybody shared.
Yeah.
Everybody looked out for your children. Everybody was able to discipline your children. And you better not say to them that Miss So-and-so beat me,
right?
Because you're going to get beaten.
And then
they're going to ask out. They go there and they said, well, why you beat her? She said, you beat her.
Yeah.
And when Miss So-and-so would have told your parents, you get another beating.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you got beaten, you pray to God that, that Miss So-and-so forgot, and my neighbor, and I would mention her name, Miss Della, Della Rowe. She never worked. So she was always at home. And when my grandmother, Emily Nixon Mackey, would have left, Miss Della had a list of chores that they left for you.
Yeah.
And she told you about kabuki and karabi and all these stories.
Yeah.
But you had to do your work before you got the hot bread and the switcher.
Yeah.
To listen to kabuki and karabi. That was community spirit.
I mean, oh man, just bringing back some of those memories.
Yes.
Not just community spirit, and of course you mentioned family, and 3 of you, but the church. The churches in Foxville played.
Yes, they played a
like the glue. You're right, because they were all within reach of each other, and they had this special connection still to this very day. The churches of Foxville.
Yes, because there were the Baptist churches,
the Baptist,
and then there was the Anglican, the Roman Catholic, the Methodist, Church of God, Prophecy. But then the thing I remember most about my growing up, all the streets. We knew everybody on the streets. Yes.
Yeah.
And I was reflecting, when you go east, west, north, and south, you could name the families on those streets.
On those streets, yes.
Yeah, and those families knew us.
Right.
As children growing up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
From west to east, you just went along and you could remember the families, even today. I know that things have changed somewhat. You've had a number of people who've moved out of town, out of Foxville, and a lot of new people have come in, and that has sort of changed things somewhat.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that sense of community is still very strong,
still very
and so many
strong.
stories that we still have to capture, right? As we kind of start running out of time again, but the future. I mean, when you talk about the hopes and prayers for Foxville,
I would like to see that maintained, that strong community.
Right.
If that could be promoted, encouraged, fostered, I feel it would do well because a lot of the younger ones
may not be as connected.
No, they're not as connected. We've lost some of that. And with all the other groups and things coming in, the dynamics are changing somewhat. But I would like to see that heritage
continued.
Oh yes.
What do you say, Mary?
Yeah, my children have a strong sense of
belonging
in Foxville. Yes.
Can't stay away for too long.
No, they can't. Yeah. And when you think of all the fruit, the games, the playing, and
You could always find
Just
something.
ownership.
Something always in season, right?
In season. Always
Fox Hill
in
is
season.
like the fruit capital
Of the Bahamas. Right.
That's
Okay.
right.
Certainly New Providence.
Yes.
I'm going to conclude with you. And same question, really. I mean, you think about Fox Hill today, you think about, years gone by. What is your hope for the future?
I would like to see my community remain strong and even stronger, because the persons who would have come in, they need to know from whence we came. We need to pass it on to them. And I just said to Dr. Raming this morning, I have a clipping of his Fox Hill Day that he wrote in 1999. And he said, wow, you need to give me a copy of that. But we need to teach our children. We need to pass on our history. So that it will not get lost.
That's important in terms of our identity.
Yes, who we are as Foxhillians.
Absolutely.
We don't want to lose that.
And as Bahamians.
As Bahamians, yes.
Thank you so much for being on the
show.
Great
pride in that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Listen,
Thank you.
Proud Foxhillian.
Absolutely. Proud to be Foxhillian. Listen, you're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We've been with Mary Johnson, Esmeralda, Johnson Rutherford, and Olive Mackey, representing so well families of Fox Hill. Over to you, Star.
Thank you so much, Phil. Well, the Catherine International Academy is a 21st century learning institution that prepares scholars to become conscientious citizens and proactive global leaders. I love that. And they're situated in the historic Fox Hill settlement. We've been celebrating Fox Hill today in this notion of emancipation, and I'm very happy to welcome my good soror, who's the principal at a Catherine Academy. Her name is Miss Rhonda Wright. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you with us, Rhonda, and to be talking about this school that really, if you are in the space where you're interacting with young students and you meet students from a Catherine, you really take a step back and say, well, who are these young people and where did they come from? Phenomenal job. How many years have you been in operation now?
We just ended our 8th year.
Wow.
Yes, opened the doors in August 2011.
Okay.
So we're moving into the divine 9th year of our existence.
Yeah, I mean, and a phenomenal institution, as I said. I don't know much, and so I'm happy that you're here so we could learn more. But whenever I meet the students, there's just something about them that really stands out.
And we hear that often.
Yeah. So what is the mission and vision of a Catherine?
So in a nutshell, as we know, Dr. Jacinta Higgs is the founder of the school, the founding principal, no longer there, of course. However, as she loves to say to us, a Catherine was not put on the ground in the heart of the Fox Hill community, surrounded by some of the best schools, as we know historically, to do what everybody else does. And so our motto is teaching ancient wisdom and values to prepare 21st century scholars. And so clearly, as an educational institution, academics is critical, but our goal and our focus is much beyond that. And so we talk about the whole child and wanting to restore their divinity, restore who they are in terms of their knowledge of who they are, their confidence, and knowing from whence they've come. And so that's why we're on the ground, taking our Trinity, as we say, Trinity of teaching approach, tapping into the whole child by way of the subjects, the skills which are non-academic in approach, as well as the spirit. Who is this child? The values, the character, and what is your noble goal? What are you here to do? So we want our children, because you talked about conscientious and conscious, so we want our students to know that you are here for a reason, you have a purpose, and our job is to help them to become familiar with that and to plant the seeds so that as they go out into the world, they know that they are here to give back and to help the community from which they've come.
Man, so much powerful stuff in there, Rhonda. And it really is, as a parent myself now, the ideal, right? That you want to take this little being that you've been given and to give them the best opportunity to thrive.
Yes.
But to not just to be a taker, but to be a giver back to the world from which they've been born.
Absolutely.
So when you think about a Catherine, you mentioned that you guys kind of do this through subjects as well, because academia is important. What are the subjects that you teach?
So in terms of the subjects, of course, as a Ministry of Education approved institution, the traditional subjects are taught as well. So you're preparing students for the GLAT, BJCs, BGCSEs, so your English, your language, social studies, sciences, etc. Our teachers build on top of the Ministry of Education's curricula though, and so technology is critical with regards to the curriculum. All of our students are required to have devices from grade 1 through to the 12th grade as we cater to the full spectrum. And we utilize the World Wide Web to build upon the base knowledge of the subjects. And so in addition to the traditional subjects, I spoke to the skills. And that is where, so for our subjects, we like to say that that's going to take our students toward their profession. What is it that you would want to be certified for, get your degree in, etc. And that could be college, or that could be a vocational type of path. And so when we look at the skills then, which are non-academic in nature, because we celebrate not just the A student, but we also celebrate that child who may be a great dancer, who may have the skills with regards to engineering. Maybe they want to be a sound engineer. So we have web design, cosmetology, barbering, public relations, media. We also have dance, sewing. We have our students have an opportunity to be involved in and tap into those non-academic instructional classes as well, which we tell them can lead them to their passion. What keeps you awake at night? What is it that you may want to learn more about and be exposed to, because that too can become a stream of income for you later on. So we're again catering to not just the academic child, but to the child who likes to use their hands as well and get involved.
So that's amazing that you guys have the skill sets and of course the academia, both of which are critical long range to making a living and to having a wonderful life. But there's something else that you do there though, because there's something about these students when they walk into a room. There's a level of confidence, there's a level of security, and a level of I ought to be here and I'm fine with where I am. That is hard to find in other systems where there's bullying and what is the difference there? Are they learning something about conflict resolution or some sort of soft skills that you're teaching, or that's a part of the method? Because there's something more to just the academics there.
Absolutely. And it's an intangible that's sometimes difficult to articulate, but it is also very evident because we hear that feedback often. And what we pride ourselves in is understanding and having seen just through the years that we've been on the ground, that our children, of course, they need to learn their ABCs. They need the subjects. They need the skills. More than anything, though, our children need love. They need affirmation. They need to be told that they are worthy. They need to be told that you can do it. You have come with all that you need. We are simply here to help them to bring it out, to help them to fine-tune, to shine it up, and to make sure that they are confident about their abilities and their skills and that they belong. And we tell them that we're here to guide them along that path, that when it is time, no matter who they sit opposite, when they are in that conference room or at that government table of negotiation, that they are going to be confident, they're going to be skilled, have the ability to think critically, but they will also be conscious of their environment, conscious of their community, and understanding that they have to be protective as well as looking out for the well-being of the nation. And so those are just some of the soft skills, as you say, that throughout the school, we've had students that would come to us and we ask them too, how has it been for you, your experience been here versus where you may have come from? One of the things that they say to us consistently, Kefren's teachers, they care beyond the books. It's more than just what are you going to do in that exam? How are you going to turn in your assignment? We really care about the child. And as simple as that may sound, it makes the world of difference. Makes the world of difference.
How can we contact you? If people are, obviously it's the summer session now, and I don't know what the opportunities are like to come into the school this fall, but how can we reach out to you if people want to learn more?
So the office is open, and as everyone knows, or who doesn't know, we are located on Grant Street and Bernard Road in the Fox Hill community. And the numbers are 324-9212. And so we are still accepting new students. So for those who may be interested, we'd love for you to give us a call, and we'd be happy to take you through the enrollment process.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Rhonda.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
This is Eddie, and Eddie's a change counter. This is Sean. Sean doesn't have to count change because when Sean purchases a plan with Alive, it's VAT inclusive. Keep things simple. Just like Alive's all-new VAT-inclusive prepaid plans with more talk, more text, and even more data. So don't be an Eddie. Freedom Simplified. Alive. Believe in best.
This summer, take off with Shell. Spend $20 or more in fuel and enter to win. You and a friend can experience Bruno Mars live in concert in Viva Las Vegas. Or relax in picturesque Harbor Island for the regatta. Or plan an exciting vacation for 4 to Orlando. Fuel up at your nearest Shell service station and you can also win thousands of dollars in free gas, Bahamas Air vouchers, Super Value gift certificates, or one of many new iPhones that will be given away this summer. So hurry into your favorite Shell location and enter to win. Like us on Facebook for more chances to take off with Shell and win today.
Well, that's going to do it for us, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Hope you enjoyed our celebration of emancipation and believe the Fox Hill community.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great day. Great day. I want to also say good morning to my mother. So we never have enough time.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those days where, you know, like our producer said, we need to turn this into a documentary. There's so many stories, and before we begin to lose more of our precious pearls, we have to be able to pull out of them the history, because it's uniquely tied to our identity, right?
Yeah.
Who we are as a community, and of course as an island, as a nation.
Yeah, and you know, for me, it's so obvious why they're called the Fox Hill Congos, right?
Yeah.
But you don't think about it, because you just think of it as a Junkanoo group name,
right,
until you understand the history behind it.
Absolutely.
And so hearing the Reverends talk about the Nangas on one side and the Congos on the other, and how, you know, I think also that the idea of conflict is new, right? When it's not.
Right. No,
it has historically always existed with territories and boundaries and people selecting those, but how we resolved it has been different. And the players, like the school and the church being a place where those factions could come together and love, has made the difference. And so I think it's important for us to know this, to understand it, to speak about it and celebrate it. So happy to have had a Catherine here, the work that they're doing with our young people, in reminding them of who they are and celebrating our history.
And celebrating who you are and the history of you.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, listen, Emancipation Day. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's not just a holiday.
Not just a holiday, very important today. But please enjoy it wherever you go. Be safe. Make sure to watch those little ones in the water.
Yes.
And we hope that you will have a wonderful day. We'll be back with more on Friday.
Bye.